Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Instant Replay. I'm your host, Dave Garner. Thank you for watching right here on FYNTV.com. Again, it is Monday if you're watching our live show, and we appreciate you guys being with us. The 28th, I believe, January the 28th, 2019. If you are watching live, and if you're watching Tuesday through Thursday, you're still watching some pertinent information right here as we bring you the best and latest in local sports in our North Georgia area. Again, we welcome you to the only online weekly hour of North Georgia Sports Talk right here. We appreciate you guys being with us as always. Our phone number is 706-889-9700, and our email, if you have any information you'd like to share with us, please feel free to share it. Team FYN Sports at FetcherNews.com, and you can also follow us on all of our various social mediums as we keep you up to date on what's going on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, be sure to follow us on our YouTube page at FYN TV, Fetcher News, again, our YouTube channel there as well. Luther Kinsey, very active on there, as well as our entire Team FYN Sports team. And Luther, speaking of, Luther's behind the glass this morning to start things out, but we're going to bring him out here at some point. But anyway, Josh Ross behind the glass as well as our director. Gentlemen, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning. Super Bowl week, man. I mean, this is Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta. All kinds of stuff going on all week long down at the World Congress Center. You guys going to make plans to go down there any this week or what?
No, I'm gonna come hang out around here and enjoy the snow tomorrow.
I was going to say a lot of the forecast calling for a little bit of snow. Not sure how much of it's going to stick, but some forecasts say up to 2 inches. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you, with the temperature supposed to plummet down in the middle to upper teens tomorrow night, if we get it, it'll stick.
Yeah,
it'll stick. We'll have some ice. Of course, here's Team FYN Sports weather forecast coming
right,
up.
Exactly.
I don't have the pretty little screen behind me in the map, but we're going to go with
forecast.
it. Yeah, everything I'm watching, it's probably going to end up affecting a lot of our basketball games in the area tomorrow night as they come down to a season's close, or season's end rather. They're saying possibly 1 to 3 inches here, with temperatures dropping throughout the night tonight as it comes in, starting out as ice. But, we'll see. We'll see. If we've got games to cover tonight and tomorrow, we'll just keep right on working and make sure we can get to them. So
right, yeah. That barometric pressure getting me I'm a little congested this morning, a little stopped up, but I think a lot of it's just the allergies, the weather, whatever's going on out there. Maybe, if my knee starts tingling or something, then I'll say maybe the snow's coming.
What kind of pressure was that?
Barometric, right? I mean,
I just lost my weatherman's job because I don't even know what that is. No,
people waking up with nosebleeds this morning, everything. I mean, there's some folks. But speaking of weather potential and so forth, I know you had a busy weekend as well as our Team FYN Sports team with the Gilmer Rec Department basketball tournament, which is scheduled to take place all this week, and we will be live on the air, of course, weather permitting, on FYNTV.com all week long. Luther, I know you were at it over the weekend. I guess this thing started, on Saturday, and now it's going to take place all week through this weekend, I believe.
Yeah, it is. It's the Gilmer Park and Rec end-of-season tournament. Of course, Josh was there working the controls Saturday as well for a little while, and it's going on. They had a full day. I think it was right at basically, 12, 13 hours on Saturday.
Right,
and it starts back up tonight, runs all week, and it'll come to a close Saturday with the crowning of champions in every age group out at Gilmer Middle School. So if you're in the area and you're watching and you want to watch some fun basketball, either go to FYNTV.com, where we are broadcasting every game live, or you can just go on out to the middle school here in LJ, Georgia, Gilmer Middle School, and enjoy it live.
There you go. I feel like I'm about to be crushed by the graphic right here.
Well,
on this side. Look at that. Look at all that Look at all that information right there. Isn't that something? Man,
well, we are all over it, so we figured we'd put it all over you.
I love it, man. I love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. 7, 8, 9, year olds playing basketball all week, man. It doesn't get any better than that. I love this time of year. We talk a lot about March Madness, of course, at the college level, which is rapidly approaching and so forth as we get towards conference tournaments. Later in the show, in our third quarter segment, we're going to talk a little bit about high school basketball and who is where going into what is basically the final week or so of the regular season. We're going to lay it out for you, talk about who's where, what has to happen, and so forth as we get set for postseason basketball. In segment 2 today, coming up here after this first break, we're going to talk some high school wrestling. Pickens, of course, hosting the Burnt Mountain Classic over the weekend. We're going to talk about that, but we're also going to sprinkle in a lot of regional sports news and national news as well. A lot of things to talk about. The Australian Open was over the weekend. A lot of NBA stuff going on right now. NASCAR, some changes for a lot of our race fans out there. But how about that Pro Bowl yesterday? I tell you what, the most competitive football you'll ever watch is in the Pro Bowl. Not. Did you guys catch the Pro Bowl yesterday by chance on Sunday? It was as somebody said, it was a glorified tickle fest. I mean, they were calling whistles before there was even contact being made. No one got tackled on the ground. It was basically two-hand touch football. I mean, the football gods would have been rolling over in their graves yesterday. Yeah,
I'm afraid that with all the rule changes that eventually that's what we're going to see for every game.
Well, that's my fear, Josh. I mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, if you had been frozen, for the last 20 years and you woke up and you saw that game yesterday, you'd probably be like, what the heck is this? But you may be right with all the rule changes, all the safety stuff. I mean, it may very well be a situation, probably not anytime soon, but maybe in 10, 20 years, that might be what it looks like, what we saw at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, well, I agree with both of you on that, the rule changes and that. It's starting – the Pro Bowl kind of looks to me as a 1960s high school dance, where you have to stay an arm length away from each other.
Right, exactly.
And the officials were there, kind of as the principals and the teachers and the parents that were chaperoning. Nope, that's too much. You're touching, get a little further apart, And I didn't watch much of it, just for that reason. Football's football, football's tackle, football's contact.
Right.
And great hits, the ones that make you just go, ooh, when they hit them. And they've already put the quarterbacks in tutus, it looks like they came from ballerina class to get there for most of them. You can't touch them.
Right. We saw that AFC Championship game with Brady. And speaking of BKP, by the way, before the show started, he did put his Super Bowl prediction. He said Patriots will win it, but they've already got 3 roughing the passer calls against the Rams queued up in their pocket. That was his. That was BKP's prediction.
Well, Belichick's got the money. $20,000 a call. That's easy money. That's pocket change.
I was going to say. Right, and we're going to talk about the Super Bowl later in the show if we have time on the back end of the show between all the high school wrestling and everything. But obviously, Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta this week, Patriots-Rams. Both teams, of course, arriving in Atlanta on Sunday. So they are here as we speak. I think the Patriots are practicing at Georgia Tech all week, and the Rams are up the road, I guess, at the Falcons facility or somewhere close by. So it should be a lot of fun. And we're going to talk about the Super Bowl a little bit later on in the show there. Should be a lot of fun. NASCAR, Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus, after 7 championships split parting ways, if you will, and Knaus going over to the 24 team that's going to be driven by sophomore driver William Byron, a young guy. So Jimmy Johnson going to have a new crew chief for the first time in however many years it's been, almost flirting with 20 years those guys have been together. So, wow. Unbelievable basketball game on Saturday night, too, between the Celtics and Warriors. The Hawks, though, Trae Young, John Collins starting to ball out. They're a fun team to watch. A lot of things going on. I don't know if you guys are tennis fans, but, Djokovic and Nadal going at it in the men's final of the Australian Open. And, of course, on the women's side, Osaka, I believe, over Vitkova. In the women's final there, I was able to catch some of the final. I guess it was Sunday. It was yesterday. I guess I was watching right around lunchtime, and it was pretty fun. A lot of fun. So
yeah, that was a good match. Djokovic, he's probably my favorite player right now, which I guess that's easy to say because he's one of the best. But right. I was tired of watching Nadal and Federer win all the time. So
I was going to say, between those 3 guys, you just said those 3 right there, if you will. Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. Obviously, those are kind of the and you throw, I don't know who else you'd throw in there to be kind of the Mount Rushmore right now, I guess, of men's tennis. But years later, though, I mean, it's still those guys. Going 1 and 2 into the Australian Open. I mean, it's a lot of familiar faces that are still playing at a high level at what you would say towards the twilight of their career, if you will.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yep, no doubt. We're going to talk, like I said, a little bit more about the Super Bowl later on. Obviously, Gilmer Rec Tournament, a big focus here for us locally. Lots of things going on, but a lot of regional and national news. And we will continue to follow it for you right here on the Instant Replay as we, of course, try to keep track of everything else that's going on, even beyond the scope of what we do locally. So we always have a lot of fun right here on the program. We're going to go ahead and take our first time out. When we come back, we're going to dive into some high school wrestling and talk about what all went down over the weekend on the mat. All that and more straight ahead on this week's edition of the Instant Replay. Stay with us.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and LJ, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
We're more than just $5 medium one-topping pizzas. Stuffed garlic knots, breadsticks, bone-out wings, pasta, and new Cinnabon mini rolls. We're the $5 lineup with the best sides for your pizza.
$5 each.
Choose 2 or more, $5 each. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Back here with the program. Thanks for being with us right here on FYNTV.com. We're live on Mondays, Tuesday through Thursdays, the encore replay of this program. But still, as we said, very pertinent information, still up to date with you right here. And we'll hit our tagline later in the show. But if it happens in North Georgia, we're all over it. We always say that. But this past weekend, our local high school teams were all over the mat. Again, we had a lot going on as Pickens hosted the Burnt Mountain Classic. Gilmer was there, and the Bobcats obviously coming off of a state runner-up, state duels performance down in Macon, returning to the mat at Pickens. And what a great weekend, what a great day for a lot of our local wrestlers with both of those programs. Gilmer really showing out 11 athletes in the top 5 basically, and also a a champion as well. Carson Bentley, I think, had a birthday over the weekend. He finished 4th at 106. You had Logan Bentley, you had Miguel Jacinto, you had Brock Sumner, Hoyt Stover, Alex Reputin, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. And Forrest Todd all placing. Caleb Waddell was the champ at 170. Abel Jacinto, Taylor Brogdon, and Owen Moss at 220. So, again, all those guys finishing in the top 6, which is basically placing in that tournament. So 11 different Bobcats. And then on the Dragons, they had 3 place in the Classic as well. Garrett Thompson was 6th. They're reaching the podium. Michael Burrell finished 2nd. And a big congratulations goes out to a sophomore, C.J. Murphy, for bringing home 1st place in the 126 weight class. So, Luther, I know a lot of different stuff. I know you're the one putting this information together, not to steal your thunder, but how about the effort, particularly from the Bobcats, man? They just picked up right where they left off.
Well, when you get into the individuals, as they are now preparing for state on the 13th and in Macon, you have 14 weight classes.
Yep.
And the Bobcats, out of 14 wrestlers, placed 11.
Right.
I think they're ready for Macon.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that's kind of what you have to do to win a state championship. You got as many. Now, I've seen teams win it with like 8, 9, but you've got to get a lot of production out of those 8 or 9 guys, because depending on how far they go determines the amount of points that they rack up. So if you got 11 guys going, even if you have, and I've seen Gilmer teams that had all 14 classes represented before, but that doesn't guarantee you a state championship by any means. I mean, there are teams that can ride 5 or 6 wrestlers. But if all 5 or 6 of those guys get into the, quarterfinals or semifinals, and you got a couple that end up going all the way, you can definitely do well there. But obviously, the more you got, increases your chances.
It does. There was 20 schools represented there at the Burke Mountain Classic. So,
right.
11 out of 14 classes. Of course, some of these guys finished 2nd, some of these guys finished 3rd, some of them finished 4th. But at the same time, that is a dominating performance against 20 really good programs.
Yeah, and some bigger schools as well.
Schools,
yeah,
yes. I mean, there was Calhoun was there, West Hall was there. Always puts out a good program out of Gainesville. Just across the board, very good wrestling. And once again, the Bobcats stepped up. Talking about Pickens, C.J. Murphy. That's actually the picture you see on your screen there. Is C.J. sophomore, 126, I believe. I hope I got that weight class right. If someone knows him watching, please let us know if I messed that up. But, just energetic young man, just awesome job. Really, really deserved a good championship there. And he's going to perform well in Macon as well. Of course, you've got Zach Meadows from Pickens. Didn't have the results reported to me on how he did this weekend. I'm sure he did well. R.J. Casey gave me some information on that. He was able to stop by there and check it out for me. And R.J., I appreciate that. But Pickens is they're going to show very well in Macon as well. As far as other teams, Fanning's probably going to have some athletes go to state. They're going to do well. You're going to have Union's going to represent. Lumpkin's going to represent very well. Of course, they finished 5th at the state duels in Macon 2 weekends ago.
Sure. So,
all the individual guys for these schools in our area are really going to make a good showing down at Macon. Mm-hmm. Like I said, on February 13th at the Macon Centerplex. It's going to be another good weekend of wrestling. Yeah. And this is where the guys really get to kind of toot their own horn, so to speak.
Right.
They are there to compete for the school, but they're also there to compete for themselves. And you just want to wish each one of them the best of luck in the world and going forward. Because Hoyt Stover finished 2nd. Another one that's going to perform very well at state. Just a great young man, great wrestler.
No doubt. You were talking about RJ. It was great last week, not to get off track, but at the Gilmer Pickens basketball game last week, you and RJ standing side by side over there on the baseline, basically covering, the respective teams. But it's great to see you guys, getting along in the same building.
Well, it's tough at times. No, I know RJ's probably watching. If he's not watching it now, he will go back and watch it. So I have to say this. Would you like for me to tell you what RJ told me?
Oh, boy. I don't know. Do I? I don't know. Does RJ want you to tell? I don't know.
You're
we'll
right.
See.
No, actually, me and RJ, we get along great. Yeah. Greatest of friends. He covers Pickens. I cover Gilmer majority. The majority of my coverage is Gilmer. We get along great. Best working relationship I've had with anyone in several years. Except for Monday from,
Well, of course.
10
you
to
got to say that,
of course.
Josh over here. You got to work with him, full time. So, it's...
We don't want Josh to hear this. No, I'm kidding. But, you know, in all honesty, RJ's really good. He helps me out. He calls when I was down in Macon. He texted me and called me and let me know how the Dragons, how the Lady Cats and Bobcats were doing.
Right.
So we work together. You know, we are a team here,
Sure.
as it says in Team FYN Sports, you know, so we have fun.
Yeah.
We have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all
It
about.
is.
So, and by the way, and we'll jump into basketball a little bit later. But we'll talk more about that. But some good games, of course, playing out last week. Sticking with wrestling, obviously, you know, we talked about the Dragons finishing 4th in the region duels. For some reason, I have such a hard time saying that word. But anyway, duos and duels, but it was the duels, the area duels. So as a team, obviously only the top 2 go to state, so the Dragons were kind of on the outside looking in. But individually, going into the traditional tournament, as we talked about, with guys like C.J. Murphy, who you're seeing, you know, right here in the box up here, and some of the other folks. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. There we go, right there. Yeah, you know. Oh, you just lost an arm there, man. You get outside the boundary, and that's what happens.
Well,
right
you
there,
know,
so.
I go outside the boundaries all the time, so that's my fault.
That's our little cyber set right here, a little virtual set. But no, it's just one of those things where you know, I think that the Dragons obviously are going to have a good showing. You talked about Lumpkin. You talked about some of the other teams looking at 7 AAA and what they've done. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we do wish all of our local grapplers all the best as they compete at the next level, as they get set for the first things first. I mean, before you get to the state, you got to compete at the area traditional, and so that's coming up soon, and hopefully we're going to have a lot of guys in there.
Well, this weekend, it will be the last individuals tournament at home for Gilmer. They will be hosting this weekend. Then we've got the areas, as you said, coming up, and from there, of course, you know, we go to state.
Yep.
And that will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I believe it's the 11th through the 14th.
Sounds right. I think so.
Right,
yeah.
I think that Saturday's the 13th. So
It'll be fun.
It may be the 10th through the 13th.
That's always a lot of fun. If you've ever been, like we said, I think on last week's show, if you've ever been to Macon or Gwinnett or anywhere that the state's ever been, if you've never done that, you need to make a trip. A lot of folks go watch the state basketball tournament down in Macon and so forth, but do yourself a favor, go watch that state wrestling tournament, especially even if you just show up for like the finals, you know, that final evening. It's just a lot of fun. The introductions, the way they do it, I mean, it's like being at a boxing match or something. You know, they got the spotlights out and they introduce these guys and they line up, and it's really cool. I'll never forget years ago before they started using the bigger venues for that sort of stuff, and they were still having some of the classifications at the high schools, and Gilmer actually hosted the state wrestling tournament at the Cage. And you had wrestlers, of course, from all over state, because that was back when it was, you know, 3A, 4A, I guess. And so you had guys from all over the place, you know, wrestling for the state championship at Gilmer High School, making the trip to LJ. A lot of fun. Since then, obviously, they went to the bigger venues to have everyone under the same roof, but always a lot of fun there. We're going to go ahead and take a quick time out. We're going to transition from the mat to the hardwood. When we come back, we're going to dive in to the final week, basically, of the regular season for high school basketball. We're going to lay it all out for you and let you know who is where heading into this final week and how the postseason is shaping up for all of our local area teams. We'll do that after the break. Stay with us.
The leaves aren't the only thing falling in Jasper. The prices are falling too at Days Chevrolet. Now during the model year end clearance, get huge savings up to $14,000 off Chevy Silverado Crew Cab and save up to $7,000 off new Chevy Cruze. The prices are falling on every 2018 Chevy in stock during the model year end clearance, going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys always cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
At Ingalls, we have a very special family. A family of farmers, ranchers, and dairymen. Clerks, butchers, and bakers. Deli workers, pharmacists, and florists. We work hard every day to bring you the very best. And we'll continue to wake up every morning and work as hard as you do. This is our town, and we built this community together. Ingalls, your neighbor for over 50 years.
At Pizza Hut, we're more than just $5 medium one-topping pizzas. Whoa, wait, medium pizzas? For $5? And all these sides, only $5? I'm speechless. The new $5 lineup, because no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Back here with more of the program as we enter our third quarter segment of the show. We're going to talk some high school basketball here in just a moment, but I do want to throw out a couple of things regionally. As I said up top today, we're going to sprinkle in some regional and national sports news with us. MLS Soccer, the Atlanta United has signed South American Player of the Year Gonzalo Pity Martinez. Again, he signs with ATL, and it was thought that about a month or so ago that he would be signing. But because of the MLS rules, you can only keep 3 international transfer players on your roster. Well, those players before Pity include Joseph Martinez, who just signed a long-term deal, Miguel Almiron, who was thought to be, one of those guys that might be shipped for the right price, and that's still on the table. And then the other one is Ezekiel Barco, who's also an international player that Atlanta United brought in, of course, last year, young guy, teenagers basically. So you can only have 3. Well, they signed Pity Martinez. Now we're going to have Joseph Martinez and Pity Martinez, which means that at some point over the next month or so that either Miguel Almiron or Ezekiel Barco is probably going to be shipped away. It's not guaranteed. We thought Miguel obviously was, but they're demanding such a high price for him that it may very well be Ezekiel Barco that could be shipped out as the odd man out because they've got to make room for Pity, who they just signed. So it'll be interesting to see what the decision is.
It will, and of course you were able to follow United a lot more than I was, so I know the names, but I don't know the quality of the players there and their impact one of those two leaving would be. But it's going to be a tough decision for them because obviously they're both really good.
Right, yeah.
And bringing the the cup here and the championship and all. I'm glad they're doing it, not us.
Yeah, I was going to say. Well, I think it's going to be a situation where if another team from Europe comes through with the right price, they're willing to pay the $30 million, for Almiron, then that's going to be our answer. If that doesn't happen, though, and they don't get what they want from Miggy, I think they'll hang on to him and probably ship Barco, but we'll see what happens there. Atlanta Braves news. Again, they did re-sign Nick Markakis. I think Nick probably took the hometown discount there, probably restructured his deal to take a little bit less money, but he's from Atlanta, a product of Woodstock High School. His family's here. The grandparents get to visit the kids and all that sort of stuff, and so I think that Markakis is fine taking a little bit less money to stay in his hometown. But otherwise, the Braves have been fairly quiet in the offseason, so there's still some big pieces on the table out there in free agency, so we'll see what happens, but maybe the Braves will land somebody.
Yeah, well, right
another
now,
power hitter maybe, or
of course, the Phillies got the big guy that everybody wanted, I mean, and the Braves weren't going to pay that money.
Right.
And I don't blame them there. Of course, Major League Baseball is right around the corner as well.
Absolutely.
We'll get into high school baseball here in a few minutes.
Yep.
Spring training, pitchers and catchers.
Getting ready to report.
Getting ready. I mean, they're packing their bags ready to go. So,
yeah, you thought Major League Baseball had a short off season. Atlanta United just won the MLS Cup basically last month. They're already in training. But they take a lot of time off through the season, so it's a long season from start to finish, but there's a lot of time taken off in between there. But you're right, pitchers and catchers important, and we are, as Luther said, we are going to talk about some high school baseball coming up in our final segment here today as we kind of begin to take a sneak peek at what's ahead in the spring season here coming up. But before we do that, we've got plenty of high school wrestling and basketball to close out, and for this third segment, we want to dive in to where all of our local area basketball teams stand at this moment. And let's start on the girls' side. Region tournaments, basically, Luther, firing up for everyone, next week, I guess? First full week of February.
Yeah. Most of our schools in our coverage area, the end of the season is tomorrow night, Tuesday the 29th, if you're watching live on Monday. We've got a couple schools that have games only until like February 1st, but Georgia High School has to have all the region champions submitted to them by February 5th.
Right.
So they are right here around the corner, and it's heating up. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and that's basically by next Tuesday. So on the girls' side right now, it looks like Gilmer, Lumpkin, Dawson, and North Murray are, I don't want to say cemented because they obviously have to get in the tournament and do something, but those are kind of the 4 teams right now that are, pretty solidified inside the top 4 of the region standings. And then on the boys' side, you've got Gilmer, Dawson, and North Murray, the 3 teams right now that are really in a good position. But that's not to say that some of our other teams who are flirting with that 4th, 5th, 6th spot can't get in there. On the girls' side, let's start with Gilmer. Lady Cats 9-2 in the region. Just ahead is first place Northwest Whitfield, who again is obviously had a great year. But these 2 teams will be facing off if you're watching on Monday, tomorrow night on the 29th. So if the Lady Cats win that game, they're going to split, the season series, if you will, with them and be a tie atop the top spot. So there might be some some tiebreakers involved there going into the region tournament as to, who may have a bye or what have you.
Yeah, and I've researched the Georgia high school tiebreaker rule, and a lot of times the regions themselves will determine that. I haven't been able to get in touch with a region representative.
Yeah, because they're all a little bit different.
Yeah,
it seems
they're all
like
different.
Yeah.
Some may go okay, points scored, points allowed, percentage of wins against another team in the region, or ever how they they want to work it out. So it can be complicated. It can go down to actually maybe a coin flip.
Right.
To simplify things, but at this point, not 100% sure on that. Of course, none of that's going to matter if Northwest beats the Lady Cats tomorrow night.
Right, then it's all pretty much,
Lady Cats are coming in on fire. I think they've got like a 7-game winning streak coming in. They're playing good ball. Right. Over the weekend, they beat Lumpkin County and beat Lafayette on Friday night. Right. So they're really playing good ball right now. Coach Nunn's got them going. I mean, they were holding the Lumpkin County girls, which is, as we'll talk about in a few minutes, very good ball team, as we said before as well. And I mean, they're holding them to 6 points a quarter.
Right. Yeah.
So the defense is stepping
we talk about defense. Yeah. With that team especially, 6 AAA, North Murray, Lady Mountaineers right now second in the region behind Ridgeland. As their season closes, mathematically, North Murray should be number 2 going in. They've pretty much got a lock on that. But in 7 AAA, it's interesting. You were just talking, Luther, about Lumpkin. Right now, tucked just inside the top 4. Cooled off a little bit after such a hot start this year, but they're still very much in a position. And then you've got Dawson in that same region right now at number 2 with 2 games remaining, Cherokee Bluff and East Hall. GAC, obviously the number 1 team right now, looks like, but between Dawson and Lumpkin, 2 teams very capable of being in the state playoff bracket.
Yeah, it's both of them very quality teams, well coached. Haven't been able to see the Lady Tigers play this year. I've seen the Lumpkin Lady Indians play twice.
Right.
Just excellent coaching, excellent athletes. And, and as you said, they're sitting in 4th right now in AAA region. 7 AAA at 6 and 5.
Right, yeah.
They've got 1 game left against North Hall. Very strong opponent. North Hall sitting up there at the top, top 3. Either way, it looks like they're going to go in as a 4 seed in the tournament. Win or loss, combinations amongst the other teams is really not going to affect them being able to move up. So we're looking there. 7 AAA again. Dawson Lady Tigers are 7 and 3. 2 games left. Cherokee Bluff and East Hall. Both those teams are below them in the bracket. In the region standings. As you said, GAC number 1. It's very unlikely they're able to just. It's going to take a miracle. It's going to take a miracle of wins for the last 2 games, and Dawson. I'm sorry, GAC to lose the 2, and they're still going to fall out. 1 game behind in the region. So
One thing though that is interesting though is that Dawson could host.
Yes, the number 2 seed will host the 7 AAA girls region tournament this year.
So that could,
and if it stays the way it is, if Dawson can win out those last 2 against Cherokee Bluff and East Hall, it will be held at Dawson County.
So they may very well host that 7 AAA tournament, which would be awesome. Let's flip to the boys' side. Lafayette right now, as we know, number 1 in Region 6 4A, followed by Gilmer, as we talked about up top in the segment. Heritage is 3rd. The Bobcats will enter the postseason, it looks like, as the number 2 seed regardless. And then you've got the Dragons. Now, Pickens is an interesting situation because they actually beat Northwest Whitfield, I believe, the other night, if I'm not mistaken. And the Dragons, were 1 and whatever forever. But all of a sudden, over the last couple of weeks, and we talked about the return of Hunter Herman, we talked about how this team is starting to kind of come together. Even though they're the 6th seed on the outside looking in, this is a dangerous team going into the region tournament.
It is. Well, you look at the first game of the season between the Dragons and the Bobcats. Pretty much a comfortable win for Gilmer. And of course, in the tip-off tournament and everything at the beginning of the year as well. Well, last week they played, and it was a 1-point ball game.
Right.
It shows that the Dragons, Coach Duffy and his Dragons, have really stepped up the game with Hunter Herman coming back and said Zach Goss, Seth Bishop.
Right.
Seth Bishop laid down a dunk the other night at Gilmer that was just amazing. I mean, like I said, me and RJ get along. I told RJ that's ridiculous. He shouldn't do that. He shouldn't do that to us. That's just wrong. But in all honesty, loved it. It was just fun to watch.
Right.
Great ball game, and they are improving.
Yeah.
As you said, coming in right now, they're 6th in the region. They're going to come in as a lower seed in the tournament, of course, but that's okay. That puts them the underdog. They'll have to really fight through these
playing with house
teams,
money.
And they can do that. They can do that.
Yeah.
They're peaking, so to speak, is my favorite comment on the show. They're peaking at the right time.
Yeah,
they're really starting to play good basketball.
Yeah.
They can possibly improve. They've got Southeast Whitfield on Tuesday the 29th, and if they can get a win there, they'll have a season split, kind of as we talked about with the ladies, and they'll be 5-7. So they'll be fighting for that fifth place in region.
A little bit better.
One more. So fifth seed, sixth seed, doesn't really matter. Some say yes, some say no, but it could come down to the tiebreaker again.
I guess is there the possibility, I guess, that Gilmer and Pickens could cross paths again, maybe, particularly in the tournament, I guess, depending on how the seeding plays out? Or?
I received a text message at about 11:30 the other night and from RJ, and the exact words was, "The guys want y'all in round 2." So, or looking for y'all in round 2.
So would it be the 4th meeting of the year between those two? And by the way, going back to that game last week, because it has been a week or so, it was a 1-point ball game. Gilmer had a comfortable lead. Pickens with a furious fourth-quarter rally. Actually had the ball last, had 3 chances to win the game, but the shot fell short, and Kel Weaver finally cleared it out of there at the buzzer, and Gilmer hangs on for the 1-point win. But the one thing I wanted to point out about that is you saw, despite the rivalry and the crowd and the student body and kids getting thrown out and this, that, and the other, on the floor, things got a little testy at times, as you would expect, but at the end of the game, Seth Bishop, Kel Weaver, those guys have been battling for 4 years. They embraced in a hug, a lot of respect. They're good sportsmanship, so it's not always bad. If you know anything about those two kids, you know they're great kids, and so it was great to see that. The girls' game, not as close. That was a 30-point ball game in favor of the Lady Cats. The Dragonettes just had a tough shooting night in that one. We haven't talked a lot about the Pickens girls, but they're also very much alive in 6-4A. Let's stay with the boys. We talked about 6-4A. 7 AAA. Dawson right now hanging on to that second seed behind GAC, just like on the girls' side. The Tigers should enter the region tournament as the number 2 seed. Lumpkin and Fannin 6 and 7. They'll have to come out of the bottom. The Rebels, again, certainly have their work cut out for them. But you never know. They could be left out, but again, here we are going to the final week. 8 AA, we'll circle back around to these, but Union County at 7-5 right now. They're number 4. 2 games remain. Win or lose, not really going to change the current standings. It looks like Union will go in on the boys' side as the 4th seed. In 8 Single A, Towns County currently 8th at the bottom of the standings. They'd have to win their final 2 remaining ball games and get some help as well to get into the 6th spot and at least give themselves a chance to get in there. But it's going to definitely be an uphill battle for Towns, and that's a look at all of our boys and what's kind of going on there. But what stands out, 7 AAA, looking at that, and then we'll take our final break. But you've got Dawson, who's looking pretty good. Lumpkin's certainly not out of it, but we see kind of the Dawson boys pretty much in the same situation as their Lady Tiger classmates.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, there again, both schools, excellent coach, Chad Pittman for the boys. And it's kind of like your duels and duos. I can't get Pittman out for some reason this morning. But, they're very well coached, coming on real good. Of course, the Lady Tigers had their one of their players drafted by Simon Clemson. So, that shows the athletic ability and the skill level that young lady has. And I don't have her name written down, and I apologize for that. But, they're gonna make a run. They're gonna make a run. The Dawson County girls, I looked, just myself, personal prediction, they're gonna go 2nd, 3rd round in state.
Right.
I really feel that they're gonna come out of the region. GAC's probably gonna win the region tournament as well as the regular season. They're just an amazing.
They have such a history and tradition. Buford and GAC. I remember those Tangler forever and GAC right back there again.
But I'm really pulling for on the boys' side, I'm really pulling for Fannin to step up. And some region tournaments, I know you said they may get left out. Some region tournaments, depending on the number of teams, may drop the last 2 and play. I really want to see Fannin get in there. Yeah, they've had a rough year. They're 0-11 on the season for region play.
Yeah.
But I want to see them go in there and have one more opportunity just to really step up, get some region wins, and make a statement.
Yeah, a year of transition, as we know in Fannin County, both boys and girls basketball teams with new head coaches, obviously, and so we knew coming into the year it could be a tough year, but you kind of expected, with the transition year, it's always tough. We're seeing that Pickens boys with Coach Duffy. He's been at it forever, but anytime you bring in a new coach, typically you're bringing in a new system, new philosophy. The players are having to adjust to that, and so it's definitely been a learning process for Fannin this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun end to the 2018 season, 2018-2019 basketball season across the board.
Right.
Whether they make it to the region tournament, whether they go in and lose 2 and they're out, whatever the case may be, it's going to close out a good year for some, a great year for others, and a learning, season.
Absolutely.
For all of them. And next year I look for Fannin to be a totally different ball team.
Yeah.
Both, like I said, boys and girls. Pickens boys are going to be a different ball team.
Right.
Gilmer is going to be a different ball team. They've got some excellent young athletes coming up.
Right.
But
it's going to be hard to replace. Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, you've got Cade Carter coming up.
Right.
Really good. Had a dunk Saturday over in Lumpkin in the JV game.
Oh yeah.
So he's shown that he is a presence there, and he comes into varsity games and he's a presence there as well.
Had the buzzer beater against Southeast.
You've got Kel Weaver, David Smith, Carter Heiss, Trip Pierce, and the other name, Bennett.
Ray,
Bennett Ray's leaving. So you're losing 6 seniors for the Gilmer High basketball program.
Right.
But Coach Heiss has got the guys coming up to hopefully fill those spots at the same intensity and level of play that the ones that are leaving are. So
Absolutely.
Every team's going to be different next year. When it starts, it's going to be a brand new season. Nobody's won nothing. Nobody's lost nothing. And hopefully these teams that may be struggling just a little bit this year can crank it up.
There we go. And next week right here on the Instant Replay, we're going to have results from this week's basketball games, and we should know probably by showtime next week who is headed where and how the region tournaments are going to look as we get into officially get into the postseason for high school basketball, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to go ahead and take our final timeout, and when we return, we haven't wrapped up winter yet, but we're going to take a sneak peek ahead and start previewing some of our spring sports that are getting set to go at it, and high school baseball is on deck for 2019. We'll talk about that and our Super Bowl 53 predictions, all that more coming up as we close out the show. Stay with us.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and Ellijay, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
We're more than just $5 medium one-topping pizzas. Stuffed garlic knots, breadsticks, bone-out wings, pasta, and new Cinnabon mini rolls. We're the $5 lineup with the best sides for your pizza.
$5 each.
Choose 2 or more, $5 each. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Back here with the instant replay as we come into our fourth and final quarter segment of the program. Appreciate you guys being with us. Josh doing a great job on the controls as always. Luther Kinsey out here with me. And we just got through talking about a lot of high school wrestling, high school basketball. And now we're going to dive in and talk a little bit about some high school baseball. 2019 season just around the corner. Teams are on the field getting set. And, this time of year, obviously, we talk about baseball, soccer, track, golf, tennis. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the spring, as we all know. In Tennessee and North Carolina, they play softball. It's a fall sport in Georgia still. But so there's a lot of things going on. And Gilmer, we're going to talk a little bit more about this, I guess, on next week's show coming down the road. Their purple and white scrimmage game is coming up, I believe, this weekend to officially kind of kick off the season for Gilmer. But it looks like they're gonna make history this year, perhaps. Coach, Thurman. Excuse me. I know Jeff Rowe well. I'm having problems with names this morning. But Coach Thurman, they may be breaking a little history this year. I'm going to let you mention that real quick.
Yeah, it was brought to our attention over the weekend that the Gilbert Bobcats may add their first lady cat to the baseball roster.
The baseball team. How about that? Okay.
She has been practicing with them and competed in a scrimmage game the other day on Saturday. And I'm looking forward to finding out more information on this. I have reached out to Coach Thurman, to confirm. And, of course, I'm hopefully if the weather holds out and they're able to practice today, I'm going to go by and try to talk to him and hopefully be able to interview her as well. Find out, of course.
We're keeping it from because we're trying to tease it, but we're not going to drop any names yet. But
and without complete confirmation from Coach Thurman, I don't know if she's going to be on JV roster, if she's going to be on varsity roster to start. But either way,
right,
we're going to have our first lady cat, for the Gilmer Bobcats baseball program. And I look forward to hopefully bringing possibly some interviews to you next week.
There we go. Season starts February 13th for Gilmer as they host the Fannin County Rebels at 5 o'clock. Should be a good one. And by the way, our very own BKP, I guess he'll be handling some double duty this year. I think he's continuing as the PA voice of the Fannin County Rebel baseball team. So I don't want to put him on the spot, but I think he's committed to
He has committed. And, of course, February 20th, the Cats make their first trip up there. And I will get to hear his secondary career for the first time. Oh, goodness.
Here we go. He heard us talking about
I heard my name in Fannin County Rebels, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I want to say they're good people. I like them. I love the team. They've not completely fulfilled their contractual obligations yet. I have requested 2 hats, a home and away.
Right.
Now, a couple years ago, Cody Gray, I have the Fannin Rebel jersey they gave me. Looking for an upgrade. That's in there. That can be negotiated.
With your name on the back of it, right?
It's like the wall money. This can all be negotiated, but I'm waiting for the jersey. And I'd like to have the pants. Now, the reason Coach Ayers would never let me have the pants also is he would be afraid I would be out there making a pitching change, and he'd be looking and saying, what's he doing on the hill? So I understand. But I just want to make sure I'm looking forward to it. All the contractual obligations haven't been met. But
so they better get on the ball.
Exactly. I need my hats, home and away. Donnie Kendall, Donnie, if you're listening.
They got about 2 weeks to fulfill those obligations, those contractual obligations. So.
I just want to say you need a new manager if you're only holding out for 2 caps.
I was going to say, might need some new representation.
Luther, I think you're right. I'm going to get out of here. I just heard that. But it is, believe it or not, yes, it's February, but it's time for baseball.
That's right.
Team FYN Sports Marketing can work you a better deal than that. We can get your name out there.
Thanks,
That's
Luther.
That's right. We're going to work on that for sure. We're going to work on that. So Bobcats, Rebels, again, early season meetings against one another, which has kind of become a tradition as those two, obviously not the same classification, haven't been for many years now, but they still play each other regularly on the high school baseball diamond and all the other sports as well, and those will be some fun matchups. Meanwhile, Pickens, of course, they'll open up their season with Murray County on February the 12th at home, and Dawson County opening up with Chestatee on the 13th. Lumpkin Lumpkin County hosting Lakeview Academy out of Gainesville on the 12th. A lot of different things going on there. You talk about baseball in an area. Lumpkin, all these teams traditionally very good. Dawson County got some good teams. Fannin Rebels, as we mentioned earlier, they're going to be traveling to Gilmer on the 13th. They're going to have a neat – Fannon's got a neat little deal going this year. The baseball at the beach on the 15th and 16th.
Yeah, that's down if I'm not mistaken, it's down around Jekyll.
Yeah.
In the Savannah area. Gilmer Bobcats went last year. It's just a good time to get them out.
That sounds – what a perfect spring training, time of year. The pitchers and catchers will probably be reported for pro, and then you got a little high school down there on the beach, so they'll feel like they're in spring training.
Well, since BKP is the Fannin announcer, I'm hoping – without any contractual agreements,
right,
to get him to send me down there for some R&R. I mean, for coverage,
right?
For coverage of baseball,
right.
Yes, because in cold weather, it's going to be tough coverage.
Right, exactly.
So but yeah, they're going to play the Red Elephants out of Gainesville High School, and then Sandy Creek Patriots. Schedule's already been released for them down there,
right?
And then they're going to come back and they're going to host Gilmer, as I said, on the 20th.
So very.
I get the BKP debut.
There you go.
So I'm looking forward. I may set a recorder up there. Just to,
get it out.
Well, we need sound effects for in here.
We really do.
We really do. That could be good.
It's going to be a very busy first week for the Rebels. It looks like with some travel in there, but I know those guys will be excited about it. Union County also Panthers opening up on the 18th of February on the road at Commerce, and on the 19th. As well. Tigers come to Blairsville for a Panther home game from Commerce. So, again, it's a home and home basically to start out the season there for Union County against Commerce. And so, again, a lot of high school baseball. It's just one of those things as we talk about getting ready to crank up. First pitch about to be thrown as all the teams are basically in, getting into practice mode. And, it's cold. I mean, that's the thing. It's one of those things, but because, you get out, May, into May, school's out. The high school baseball state championships typically aren't even played till June, till everyone's already out of school. But you have to start the season at some point. And so we're already playing soccer, as far as practice goes. Those guys have already been out there practicing. It's so early in the year, but it always is. I mean, you got to start at some point. The sad thing is the grass typically doesn't even green up until the end of the season, and it's green in the fall. It's green other times of the year, but during the season, a lot of that Bermuda's still brown. It hasn't quite greened up yet. So
plus you don't get a true bounce off the dirt, because I don't care how much you drag that infield.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to freeze back up.
I was going to say, especially those February and March games. Even April. There's some cold, windy days in April too, so it doesn't warm up really till about the end of the season, unfortunately. But it is what it is, and it's going to be a lot of fun, though.
It is. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, we can get Josh out, from behind the computer. We know he lives back there while he's at work. And
I don't think I've ever seen him anywhere else in the building. I come in, he's already wrapping up BKP's show. Then we jump right in here. He never leaves that little glass aquarium in there.
Right. Well, I have, and I really don't want to admit that I go to the break room a whole bunch, but I did catch Josh in there.
You did after show though, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
definitely.
It's not like I go in there a whole lot,
right?
But I did catch Josh there. No, seriously, Josh works hard there. Of course, he does all our shows outside when we're live streaming. He ran the boards and controls for the Mountain Football League Super Bowl.
Right, yeah.
Of course, he's out there with the Gilmer Park and Rec tournament this week. He ran controls for our Fannin County Christmas tournament that we broadcast on FYNTV.com.
And, of course, Park and Rec tournament this week, as you said. Yeah,
so,
there's a lot of stuff going on.
As we'll use our line here shortly, if it comes to computer programming and engineering, Josh is all over it. But,
for sure.
But, does a great job back there. Josh, we really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
As we do, of course, Reagan up in Fannin, our reporter there, and RJ, and you and Brian and everybody.
Sam behind the scenes, BKP, Lisa,
everybody that helps us put this show together.
No doubt.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity.
Absolutely, me as well. And we've got a couple minutes left, but just a couple. So let's transition with what time we have. I think we've covered about everything that we wanted to get in here today. Braves, United, Australian Open, NBA, NASCAR, all that stuff. Pro Bowl, Senior Bowl. John Gruden was coaching one of the teams, and every time one of his guys did something, he'd slap a Raiders sticker on the side of their helmet. So all the guys were collecting. If that wasn't some PR going on right there. But let's spend the last minute or two of the show talking about the Super Bowl. And the only reason we're going to do it, I know it's pro football. I know BKP doesn't like the NFL. We're not huge fans of it either because of all the things that have happened. But it is the Super Bowl. It is in Atlanta, and so it is worth at least mentioning, at least we feel like right here on the Instant Replay. A lot of things first going on, fan experience stuff. If you haven't been to any of that stuff, it is neat, regardless of your thoughts about the NFL. But World Congress Center hosting concerts, player signings, all kinds of stuff going on this week. Autograph signings, I guess I should say. Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta on Sunday. Fan experience all week. Going to be a lot of fun. The weather Tuesday, as we talked about, could halter a little bit of that. But if you get a chance to get on down there, I may try. I don't know, but I may try to slip down there for a minute. We'll see. But who do you like in the big game this week? BKP already put his prediction out there. He's got the Patriots. Josh, what about you? Who you like?
I'm hoping the Rams win.
Right.
My dad was always a big Rams fan when I was growing up, so I've always kind of cheered for him. But yeah, I'm just tired of watching Brady win.
I know. I'm with you. I'm cheering for the Rams. I have to give the Patriots the nod.
Yeah, it's hard to go against him.
Yeah, it's hard to go against him. I mean, this will be his 9th Super Bowl. He's lost 3, so he hadn't been perfect by any means. I do like the Patriots in this one. I think they're a team that makes you make mistakes. I think the Rams, they've only got 3-4 guys on the roster that have played in a Super Bowl. The Patriots have 36 or whatever it is, 34. That didn't matter much last year, really, necessarily against the Eagles, but I think it's a little bit different scenario this year. Hoping the Rams going with the Patriots.
Yep, and Brady came out yesterday during an interview, or maybe it was Saturday, and said there's 0% chance he's retiring after this Super Bowl.
Yeah, he said he wants to play to 45, and he's sticking to that. So
yep.
4 more years, perhaps, of the Patriots being in the Super Bowl. Who knows?
Well, in saying that, and I was going to mention that too as well, Josh, he said he's not retiring. He's coming
right,
back.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Well, that allows him the opportunity to win it next year.
Right, yeah.
Or whenever.
Right,
so
yeah.
I'm going with the Rams. Sean McVay, head coach, Marietta, Georgia, Marist graduate, youngest coach in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go Rams.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Close game,
yep.
I believe, but Rams.
Yeah. And, I remember the old Rams-Patriots Super Bowl when the Patriots were the underdog and Vinatieri hit the field goal against the best show on turf, back when the Rams had Kurt Warner and all those guys. And this is a little bit different. Shoes on the other foot now. I'm assuming that the Rams will probably be the underdog in this one. But, again, going to be a lot of fun. Regardless of how you feel about the two teams or the Patriots or what have you, I'm glad it's just not the Patriots-Saints. At least I can root for a team in this one. I don't know who I would have rooted for, in all honesty, if it had been that way. But I know I'm going for the Rams. I had the opportunity to call Sean McVay in a state championship game when he was in high school as a quarterback at Marist years and years and years ago. That just shows you how old I am now. So I'm definitely going for those guys back in Atlanta. Sean McVay, the youngest head coach to be in the game, and it'll be a lot of fun. That's going to wrap things up for us. Should be a fun game, though, Sunday right here in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
We'll bring something to you next Monday.
Yeah, sounds good right here. Thank you for being with us on this week's program. We are out of time this week. As always, it's been a lot of fun. Shout out to Josh behind the glass today as our director. Our producer, as always, is Luther Kinsey, who compiles all this stuff together. I'm just the guy that gets out here and runs my mouth and regurgitates all this information. So appreciate Team FYN Sports, and as Luther said earlier, appreciate the opportunity to be part of the show. That's going to wrap things up for us this week. And just remember, again, we're always highlighting and promoting student-athletes in a positive way right here on the program, live on FYNTV.com. Again, you can follow us on all of our social medias, and if you have information you'd like to share, you can do that, Team FYN Sports at FetcherNews.com. Because if it happens in North Georgia, we're all over it. We'll see you next time.